Hello, I'm Julia.
And I'm Megan. And here on this slide, we have an outline of our planned discussion for today, starting with an introduction on what it means to be resourceful and how we can connect that with our art.
Following that, we'll have an overview of our key artist, Chris Jordan.
And then we will have everyone watch a short demonstration, followed by a breakout room to brainstorm ideas.
And then at the end, we're going to have a quick discussion to end the lesson. So for today, these are our goals. The first is to demonstrate resourcefulness by using familiar recycled materials in innovative ways. And second, we want students to engage in a class discussion about your ideas of being resourceful with your artwork and your understanding of how to apply this within your materials.
So now that we've looked at our goals for today, here are some quick thinking questions. The first is, what is recycling? And if you feel comfortable, you can unmute yourself and give your definition of the word. Or if you don't want to speak up, you can always type in the chat what this word means to you.
I think for me, recycling is reusing and repurposing items that you could currently have at home and stuff that in this case that you can turn into artwork or turn into stuff to help you with your artwork.
Great.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
Yeah. So our second question is, what materials do you recycle? Again, feel free to answer in the chat or unmute yourself.
My mom is really big on recycling. We recycle just about everything, and she has looked up tips on where to find on an object where if it's recyclable or not. So we recycle everything at home.
That's really cool.
Awesome. Okay, so our third question, kind of similar. Has anyone reused recyclable materials? And if you have, how have you done so? So you can also put something in the chat. You can say it out loud, whatever you want to do.
I'm going to talk again. I think that everyone has done this, specifically in this class, like salsa jars or like jam jars. We've reused them for like painting and stuff.
Awesome.
Even really basically, like this is a box that was not meant to hold single records, but guess what it's doing now?
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Okay. Awesome.
So moving on, how can we be resourceful? We have given a definition of the word, and does anyone want to read it for us? Any volunteers?
I can do it.
Okay, go ahead, Renee.
Resourceful, having the ability to find quick and clever ways to overcome difficulties.
Okay, so now that we have our definition of what it means to be resourceful, we can begin to think about how we can be resourceful in our art making. So think about what kind of items or resources you can use that you use on an everyday basis. And also what is a recyclable or reusable material that many other people use. So you don't need to answer these now. We don't have to answer them out loud, but keep them in your head for later when we do our art making activity.
Okay, so has anyone ever heard of the word consumerism before? You can use the reactions to give me a thumbs up if you have. Oh, can I get a thumbs up? Oh, nice. Okay, so yep, it looks like some of you have definitely heard this word before, but for our purposes, we've given you guys a definition here that it is the protection or promotion of the interests of consumers. So consumers could be people like you and me, and those interests would be about stuff that we want to use or that we would want to buy. So here we've given you guys, here we've given all of you some 3 major general consumable items, and those are paper, plastics, and clothing. Almost every day, I would say that people use these as consumable resources, and consumerism is also going to be one of the themes that we can look at or examine in our art making activity.
Okay, so to examine how much resources we use, statistics give us a better idea of just how much we use. So here we have some statistic on how much paper in tons the United States uses, following by New Jersey and Pennsylvania. So the US uses a staggering 56.2 million tons of paper from 2017 to 2018. So much paper has been recycled, and I think personally, I think it will only get better from today as we as a country are becoming more aware of what we use and how much of it we use. And we also have a little QR code if you want to scan it to learn more about this statistic.
I'll give everyone a second if you guys want to scan it. And if anyone wants to go back later on, just let me know. Okay, so on this slide, we have a piece by artist Chris Jordan, and he uses statistics on consumerism of resources like paper bags, plastic, and other materials to create his artwork. So this work on the right here is called Paper Bags, and it was made in 2007, and it depicts the 1.14 million supermarket paper bags used in the United States every hour, which is crazy. And then we are going to take a closer look at the work, and it should zoom in there. Yeah. And this is posted on his website. And the zoom feature on this website kind of gives us a better idea of just how many bags he used. So when we go in further and further, you can see just like the sheer amount of paper bags. And we have another QR code that brings you to his website if you want to go to his website, learn more about his other works. So yeah.
Right, so here we have what to include. This is basically a guide for you all to just review what our expectations are for the collage. And on the left, if you see under the consider, these are just 3 questions that we want all of you to think about when you're planning your collage. So you want to think about what paper materials you're going to use. Are you going to use magazine clippings? Are you going to use newspaper? Or maybe even you'll use cardboard or other recycled materials like plastic. Second, you want to think about what themes are actually relevant to the work that you're going to be creating. If you look on the right, there's those 3 big ideas that we're focusing on: consumerism, recycling, and resourcefulness. And then third, you want to think about what your art style is going to be. And on the bottom, if you follow the little arrow, we have an art style can be both representational or it could be abstract. So you want to think about which one you want to employ.
Yeah, so you also want to make sure you're reaching the goals. So those would be focus on one or more of the big ideas as themes, use recycled materials, and always be resourceful. So here we have our examples that we made based on the themes of resourcefulness, consumerism, and recycled materials.
So mine is all the way on the left there. It's titled Plastic from Paper. And that's because I used actual paper receipts that I saved from going to a bunch of stores, and I cut them up and collaged them on top of a brown paper bag that I got from a supermarket.
And my work is in the middle, and I titled it A Figment of a Fridge, and it's made out of recycled cardboard that I collected from items in the kitchen, like soda cans and plastic bag containers.
So my work is over here, right on the right, and it's titled Reduce, Reuse, and Recycle, emphasis on the recycle. And I used fragments of paper, an envelope, and even an old art piece.
So some other important tips for success. Make sure you treat all your art materials with respect. Treat them as you would want to be treated.
So with scissors, X-Acto knives, and any other sharp tools, you want to make sure that you're aware of your surroundings and cut away from your body because you don't want to get hurt.
For attaching your collage pieces, under the glue and tape section, you want to make sure that you have some sort of adhesive that you're going to use for your collage pieces. If you're going to use glue, make sure you know where you're going to place it before you actually pour it out, or if you're using a glue stick, if you're using the glue stick, make sure you don't pour out or brush the glue onto pieces over top of your artwork so that you don't make any mistakes and accidentally attach it somewhere you don't want it to be. Make sure you also have a separate space to put glue on those pieces before you put them on the final work.
And for cleanup, if you have any scraps, you can always save them for other projects later or figure out ways to use them for your collage.
So now we have our demo video to show the process of making a resourceful collage of collected materials. So I am going to...
Resourcefulness. Let's make our own collages.
Can everyone see?
Step
Is it
one,
playing for
sketch
everyone?
out your design to create an outline. It doesn't need to be exact.
Yes, it's working.
Do you know?
Step two, relate your design to our big idea of resourcefulness. I chose to make my design the symbol for recycling because we're using
Are they
recycled
popping up?
materials in this project.
I also added some in the video for what I say, so for a lot of the lines, if that helps.
It's okay to make mistakes too. That's what erasers are for. If you make a mistake, remember to embrace it and work with it. We can do this by thinking about the Japanese philosophy of wabi-sabi, and this means to accept imperfections. Using this mindset, we can be resourceful in our work and work with any imperfections that we made and use them to our advantage to make our piece more beautiful. Two, choose where you want your material to be placed. Try to choose different colors for each section for a more clear design. Step 3. Cut out small pieces of your recycled material of choice. I chose to use an envelope because it had the color that I wanted to use. You can even use old art projects or old notes. Step 4. Glue the pieces down to fill in your design. You can also use tape or other types of glue. Try to find shapes and pieces of material that fit into your outline. You can cut pieces to make them more convenient for you to use. This is the most fun part. Have fun and place your material however you want to. You can put them in any different shapes, and you can use all different variations of the color that you chose. Here's the finished product. Can you identify the symbol in this design?
now that we saw the video, here are the 3 simpler steps for creating your collage artwork. So the first step is creating, the first step is collecting your materials. So you can choose paper, you can choose cardboard, you could choose plastic, anything that can be recycled. Second, prepare your workspace for creating. So make sure you have enough room to work. And if you want, this is also the step where you can sketch out your ideas and kind of figure out where you want to place certain materials. Make sure you consider, Third step is to start creating. Make sure you consider themes and big ideas in your artwork, and make sure you have fun with it.
Okay, so now all of you have seen the demo video and we've reviewed the steps for making the collage. We're going to have all of you go into quick breakout rooms and discuss possible ideas you might have for your collage. And if you feel like it, you can even quickly sketch out ideas, but you're only going to have like 2 minutes to do this. So when we all come back, we can reconvene, and if you want to share, if you're comfortable, you can talk about your idea, and if you did happen to sketch a picture, you can also show us that as well. So Zena, if you want to put them in breakout rooms.
Okay, so now that everyone's had a chance to brainstorm, does anyone want to share any ideas they came up with for the art making activity? Any takers?
We want to hear your ideas.
I had an idea of that I would take. I have a bin of like scraps and stuff from like fabric to paper that I usually pull from if I'm doing a project of recycling, and so I'll probably pull from a magazine that I've been cutting through of the National Geographic of Egypt, and so from that I would make a hieroglyphic, like take out the hieroglyphics and try to make a self-portrait from that.
Awesome.
I like that idea.
Yeah, I love that.
I mean, earlier we were talking about consumerism, and the first thing that I thought about was the receipt papers that you always get, even though they give you the option to email you, and they still like give you the paper too. So like that's probably one of the most things that I throw away or just like leave in my car. And the cool thing about that type of paper is when it's exposed to heat, it turns black. So maybe playing around like in an abstract way to change the colors and like do something like that.
Yeah, I didn't even know that they turned black if you expose them to heat, but that's awesome. Thank you, Zena. And also thank you, Liz. Liz said she would use postcards she finds in thrift or antique shops and follow the path they lead her. I love that.
All right, well, these are some awesome ideas. So thank you to everyone who shared your ideas. So we're going to quickly wrap up by just reviewing what we learned today and what we're going to do in the next class. So we learned about resourcefulness and what it means to be resourceful. And we also learned about consumerism and how this plays a role in the use of resources every day. We also learned how both of these themes can kind of be tied into art making.
All right, for next class, technically, I would love to have everyone gather and bring in their paper materials, or maybe you use fabric or plastic or whatever materials that you would want to use for your collages. I would have all of you bring those in. So yes, now we have a poll, and we're just going to have everybody answer the poll. And if there are any questions about something, you can send them in the chat. Or if you don't feel comfortable having everybody see them, you could send them to us privately.
All right, so it looks like everyone has a pretty good understanding. So yeah, if anyone wants to share anything cool they learned, we're all ears.